Hello and Namaste. I am Ketan Kank from 19.2 Consulting. Welcome back to the series of videos which deals with the provisions of reclaiming of the shares from Investor Education and Protection Fund Authority. In this video, we are going to take a look at another interesting provision which actually has the bearing on investors' day-to-day life. So we are currently reflecting on the provisions of section 124. In previous videos, we have taken a look at subsections 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, which state the timelines and what if in case the timeline has been defaulted, and what if the shares have remained unclaimed for 7 years in the unpaid dividend account, and what if the amount of dividend has remained unclaimed for 7 years in unpaid dividend account. Now, in this video, we are going to take a look at the provision what happens to the shares on which the dividend has been declared. This is a very interesting amendment which has been introduced by virtue of Companies Amendment Act 2015, precisely with effect from 29/5/2015, that is 29th May 2015. I will read out the provisions of this subsection and then you will see how to interpret it. Subsection 6 of section 124 states, all shares in respect of which dividend has not been paid or claimed for 7 consecutive years or more shall be transferred by the company in the name of Investor Education and Protection Fund along with a statement containing such details as may be prescribed. Now, this is a very simple yet very important provision. If the dividend has remained unpaid or unclaimed for 7 consecutive years, then the shares on which that dividend has been declared in the first place will go to the Investor Education and Protection Fund. Now, the provision does not end over here. In continuation, that what it provides for, it says, provided that any claimant of shares transferred above shall be entitled to claim the transfer of shares from Investor Education and Protection Fund in accordance with such procedure and on submission of such documents as may be prescribed. This is nothing but the reclamation of the shares or reclaiming procedure. This section actually, or this subsection actually enables the investors or shareholders to reclaim. So, this is the right conferred by the law on the investors residing in India or outside India to actually approach the Investor Education and Protection Fund and get their shares reclaimed into their respective names. But this is not by making a mere application. The section precisely states that in accordance with such procedure and on submission of such documents. So, unless and until a proper procedure is followed, unless and until all the appropriate documents are being submitted to the IEPF, that is Investor Education and Protection Fund, the shares cannot be reclaimed once they are transferred to IEPF. So, the investors have to follow the procedure, and after following the procedure, only the shares will be reclaimed. But the investors have been enabled and empowered by this section, which in the first place says that the shares on which dividend has remained unclaimed for 7 consecutive years will go to the Investor Education and Protection Fund. The subsection does not end over here. It also provides an explanation. Now, what does explanation say? Explanation states that for the removal of doubts, it is hereby clarified that in case any dividend is paid or claimed for any year during the said period of 7 consecutive years, the shares shall not be transferred to Investor Education and Protection Fund. Now, it is important here for the investors to note that the provision states that 7 consecutive years. If in case the dividend gets paid or claimed anywhere between 1 to year 7, then the timeline or the period of 7 consecutive years restarts itself. So, the shares won't go to the IPF if the dividend has been claimed by the investor or the shareholders anytime between these 7 years. If you have any query relating to reclaiming the shares, if you have any query relating to dematerialization of shares, you may please feel free to reach out to us. You may reach out to us by writing an email on info@19.2.in, or you may simply put your comment in the comment section of this video. We will be all the more happy to help. Till the time, this is Ketan Kank signing off. Thank you so much.